Hey guys, so today I'm going to be reviewing the James Charles Artistry Palette. I'm literally so excited to try this out. I feel like I've been waiting forever for it to launch and for it to come in the mail, and it's finally here, so I can't wait to test this out with you guys. So when I ordered this palette, I got it from the Morphe site. I got it literally like a couple minutes before it launched. Like, that's how excited I was. I literally waited for the exact timing, and I ended up going on like 3 or 4 minutes early and it was already up, so I was like, purchase. I wanted to do the faster shipping, but that was like $20 and I was like, nah sis, I can't afford that. So I just did the normal shipping, which really didn't take too long actually, so that was good. But anyways, before we go in and try this out, let's talk about the pricing. So the palette itself is $39, that's not including shipping, which I don't think is really a bad price point for this palette because you are getting so many different shades and you are getting a lot of product in this palette. So for me, $39 I think is a relatively decent price. You're getting 39 different shades, and keep in mind that in the middle row the pans are bigger, so you're getting a lot more product. And like James has said, those are all of the shades that he thought that people would use more on a regular basis, and then the smaller pan sized shades are the ones that he feels people wouldn't use daily. So overall I don't think that's a bad deal, but I guess I won't know until I try out some of these shades in the palette whether or not it's worth the price. Now before I go in and start testing this out, I just want to say that I'm going to give my 100% honest opinion on this palette. I do like James and I do watch him, but whether I like him or not, that doesn't really matter. I can still critique the palette. If there are some complaints that I have, I'm going to say that to you guys. I'm not gonna be like, well, I love James, so I have to love this palette, and I'm going to lie about the fact that I love it. I really just want to give my true and honest opinion, so if there are any things that I don't like about the palette, I'm going to say that, and if I end up loving the palette, I'm going to be honest and say that I love it. I just want you guys to know that you can trust my opinion. I wouldn't lie to any of you. I really just want this to be a 100% accurate and honest review. So with that being said, let's just jump right into trying this out. I'm way too excited to wait any longer. I think I'm going to be trying to recreate the same look that James did, which could turn out pretty badly. This might be a kind of bold decision because I don't know if I can pull this off, but whether or not it turns out terrible, at least you guys are going to see how the shadows apply. So yeah, I'm kind of risking it here, but I really just want to kind of go in and, you know, unleash my inner artist and see if I can actually recreate that look. I usually don't do looks like this, so I'm kind of worried that it's going to be a disaster, but either way, we're still going to find out how well the shadows blend, how well they apply, and all that. So I guess it doesn't really matter whether this turns out awful or not, as long as you guys know how the shadows are. I guess that's the most important part. I also have my iPad right here, so I'm going to have his video kind of playing in the background, I guess, so I can kind of see what shades he's taking and how he's applying them and stuff like that. Now, I'm probably not going to be recreating the exact look that he did, just the eye look. I don't think I'm going to be painting my face white today because I feel like I'm just gonna mess that up because I only have like white face paint. I don't have like anything else that I could use, and I feel like that would not work well, and I just don't want to mess up everything. So I'm just gonna do the eye look that he did. So I'm also gonna swatch this for you guys. I'm gonna do that first before I go in and start recreating his look. But let's just start off with the packaging. So this is what the packaging looks like. I usually don't save like the packaging that most of my makeup comes in. I kind of just throw it away because I don't have like the space to save all of the packaging, and I don't really usually care very much unless it's like a really nice packaging. I guess I'll save it, but most of the time I just throw it out. But this packaging, I think I'm definitely gonna save the box because I kind of just really like it. It's really nice. But anyways, let's open it up. Now, just to let you guys know, I already did open this, and when I pulled out the palette, it did have bubble wrap around it, so I just wanted to let you guys know that. It was packaged very well, but I obviously already took that off. Anyways, and this is what the palette looks like. Honestly, when it came out of the box, I was so like surprised. It's so much like bigger in person than it is when you're looking at it, like other people's reviews and stuff, or when you're looking at pictures of it. It's like, I wasn't expecting it to be this big. Like, it doesn't even fit in the drawer that I use for my eyeshadows. And then when you open it up, I'm gonna stand for this. When you open it up, you have all of your shades here. This palette is literally huge, which is honestly great. Like, I really love that. But anyways, it does have this little paper thing that says all of the shades, so if you want to know like what the shades are called, you're obviously going to want to save this, which sometimes annoys me because I really don't like to have this little plastic covering over my palettes, but that's fine. I mean, I guess I will save it because I do want to know like what shades I'm using when I use this palette for future videos. I want to be able to let you guys know what the name of the shade is, so I will be keeping this. Let's get into the swatching. Alright, and that is all of the swatches, guys. So one thing that I'm noticing is some of the matte shades, or most of the matte shades, are swatching pretty chalky and powdery. They were almost like collecting onto my arm hairs. And when you would swatch it, it would almost create kind of like fallout on your arm while you were swatching it. But as you go and blend it in, it blends out really nicely. So just because the swatch is kind of powdery and chalky doesn't mean that it's going to not apply well on the eye. The shimmer shades were amazing. They went on beautifully. Some of them seemed to be a little bit less shimmery than others, and other ones were very, very pigmented and went on really smooth. I absolutely love the shade Artistry. That purple shade was amazing. The red shade You're Kidding was awesome. Like, the red looks like the most true red swatch that I've ever seen so far. That's pretty awesome because I love red eyeshadow. But anyways, guys, let's just jump right into trying to recreate James Charles' look now. Like I said, this could either go really good or really bad. I usually don't ever create looks like this. I used a ton of different shadows in this palette to create that look, and I'm not used to doing that. Just bear with me. Hopefully it will turn out better than expected and I will be surprised with myself. Just be prepared for it to be a fail, okay? I could end up looking like a hot mess.
I'm first going to go with an M433 brush and dip into the shade Escape, and I'm going to pop this right on the outer corner.
He's going in with the shade Escape first, which is this shade right here, this purple shade. And he's applying that onto the outer corner or the outer V of his eye. And he's using an M433 brush, which I do have right here.
I'm next going to grab another M433 brush and dip into the shade Single, which is that lighter purple shade. And I'm going to use this to lightly diffuse out the edges.
Alright, so now he said he's going to go in with the shade Single, which is the shade right here. Alright, well, it seems to be applying really well so far and blending out really well, so I have no complaints yet. Hopefully I don't. I really want to love this palette.
I'm just gonna tuck that right into the crease as well, and that means packing out that shadow first.
Okay, he's also putting that shade single into his crease, so I'm gonna do that as well. I missed that part. He talks really quickly sometimes. Okay, so I'm noticing now that I'm trying to blend the color into my crease that it's getting a tiny bit patchy, but I'm hoping that I can solve that as we go on with the look. It's getting a tiny bit patchy, like right here in my crease. I don't know if you guys can tell. I don't know, maybe I'm just not picking up enough color. I feel like I'm picking up enough to where it shouldn't be getting patchy like that. What I used for a base was some Makeup Revolution Conceal and Define Concealer. So I didn't use an eyeshadow primer, I just used some concealer. You should be able to use a concealer with an eyeshadow and it shouldn't turn out patchy or anything. Plus, I've heard that the Makeup Revolution concealer is basically a dupe for Tarte, and I know a lot of people use Tarte Shape Tape as a base for their eyeshadow. Let's just keep going with this and see how the other shadows apply.
Place, I'm just going to grab an M441 brush and dip into B, which is the bright yellow shade. This is by far the best bright yellow shadow I have ever tried. Look at this. Ready? Hello! So good! Oh my god. Like literally, you're kidding me. And I'm just gonna pop this right on my inner corner.
Okay, so he's using an M441 brush now, which I have right here, and he's taking the shade B, which is this yellow shade right here that he was saying, and he's applying that all into the inner corner right here, and he's bringing it up really close to his brow, so I'm gonna do the same thing. And he's also bringing it really close to his inner corner and the inner part of his nose. It seems like it applied on his eye really, really well and very pigmented, so I'm excited to try this one. So I've applied that. The shade seemed to go on a lot better on him than it is on me for some reason. Like the color kind of looks different in the video versus when I'm applying it, and when he applied it to his inner corner, it seemed way more pigmented than when I'm applying it. And I picked up a lot on my brush, so he must have picked up like a ton of this shadow on his brush when he first went in, because he went in like once and it was like major pigment, but when I'm going in, it's like not as pigmented. It's pigmented, but it's not as pigmented as it was on his video. So you kind of have to build it up to get it to be as pigmented as his is. Overall, I really like the shade. It's definitely a really nice yellow shade, so yeah. Okay, after a lot of time blending and adding more and more of the yellow shade, I've finally gotten it to look somewhat like his. So let's see what he does next.
Next, I'm going to grab another M433 brush. This is why I love this brush set so much, because there are multiples of many of the different eye brushes, which make it so perfect for doing rainbow looks like this. You don't have to wash your brushes in the middle of them, and you also don't have to buy a million of them on the website.
I can't afford the brush set.
Brush kit. So good. I'm gonna dip this shade right into the bright red, which is called You're Kidding. Why is it called that? You're gonna find out when I put this on. You're kidding. Look at that pigmentation. Oh my god, that is like true red. Red is one of the shades that I was most excited about, but also most nervous about, because formulating a bright red shadow is really hard.
I'm really excited to try this shade. Like he said, it is very hard to create a true red eyeshadow. So I'm curious to see how this applies as well. So it looks like he's applying it right above his crease, blending the purple and the yellow together. So this is the shade You're Kidding right here. Okay, this is an amazing red eyeshadow. Like, I'm so impressed right now. Like, it's going on like pure red. It doesn't have like any pink tone to it or orangey tone. It's literally just pure red. If you are like a fan of red eyeshadow and you've been trying to find like a true shade of red eyeshadow, I would literally buy this palette just for that one shade. It blends out really, really nice and everything. It's so pigmented.
Now with that same exact brush, I'm going to dip into the shade 518, which is the bright light orange color line, and I'm going to just blend the yellow and red shades together.
Alright, so he's taking some of this orange shade right here called 518, and he's going to use that to blend the yellow and red together. So there we are. I've had to work with it a little bit more than it seems he has. Like for him, it's just like colors on, like, okay, next step. But for me, I've had to keep going in with like some more of the orange and blending it, then a little more of the yellow, blending it, then some more red. So that's probably what he did. Obviously just cut out the parts. That's fine, it's whatever. I'm just saying, like, you gotta work with it a little bit. But yeah, I managed to get this and it looks really, really cool so far. I really like it. Also, I'm noticing the shades are going on a little bit different than what it looks like on his eye. He obviously has like the saturation up a little bit on his videos. It is really, really pigmented. I'm looking in my mirror and it is definitely pigmented, but it looks a little bit more pigmented in his video, which is fine. It's whatever. You gotta do what you gotta do to, like, I guess, sell your product and make it look as amazing as possible. I'm not saying it's not amazing. I really, really love this palette so far. I'm just saying he made it look a little bit more amazing in the video. The color looks a little bit more vibrant, but that's fine. Either way, it's showing up amazing. I'm just pointing that out so you guys know, and I hope you understand what I'm saying. Alright, let's see what he does next.
To take my favorite brush of this entire collection. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the M456. Now you're probably thinking,
Sister
Do I
Jean,
have that?
that's just another fluffy brush.
no, it's not.
I don't.
You guys know the M433 is my ride or die, okay? I literally have 36 of these in my makeup collection.
It is a
and they
good
all
brush.
are covered and dirty and a million different eyeshadows. Now we have the M456, which is literally a brush that I have wanted to create since I started working with
Okay,
Morphe
I don't
so
have
many
that brush,
years ago.
so
It is literally who have big eyes but like to do kind of detailed rainbow intricate blending looks.
So I have a similar brush, kind of like what he's talking about. It's the M562, so it is a little bit smaller and it's a blending brush also, but it can work on getting more detail in there.
I'm going to dip this brush into the shade Skip, which is the bright neon pink, and I'm going to use this to connect the red and diffuse out that edge of the purple. If you've already
Okay, so he's going in with the shade Skip, which is that hot pink shade right there, and he's putting that right here where the purple and red shades meet, and he's kind of connecting them and also blending those two shades together. Alright, I really like this shade. It's going on really well. Very, very pigmented pink shade. Now let's see what he goes in with next.
I'm next going to grab my other M456 that comes in the collection and dip into the shade Escape. This is the darker purple shade, and I'm going to pop this right in the outer V to start creating some dimension. I'm just going to pull a little bit more of that single shade into the crease for some more dimension too.
So he's going back in with those two purple shades and he's just bringing it more into the outer corner of his eye and also into his crease for more dimension. Alright, that's looking really nice.
V and dip into a little bit of the shade Spooky, the black shade in the palette. I'm going to be very, very careful because I don't want to add too much. Just kind of patting that on there and lightly letting it out.
Okay, he's going in with the black shade Spooky right here. I'm a little scared. I feel like this could be where I mess up. Alright, so far so good.
Then going back into my M456 and there's Escape. So this is looking messy right now. We're obviously going to clean it up. Do not worry.
Okay, so he's going in with the shade Escape again, which is the purple, the dark purple shade, and just kind of going over that black again.
Now we're at the stage where I want to cut the crease and lay down the rest of the shadows.
And today I'm actually also
add.
putting secret.
This is my favorite concealer in just a thick white concealer, and we're just gonna go right in on the inner corner, cutting my crease a little bit bigger than normal.
Alright, so he's cutting his crease a little bit bigger than normal, so that's what I'm gonna do. I don't really have like a pure white kind of concealer, but I do have my Makeup Revolution concealer, which is pretty close to white because I'm pretty pale, so.
And then grabbing an M431, this is the little pencil brush from the kit. I'm going to grab a tiny bit more of that concealer on the paintbrush. I just dab a little bit off, and I'm going to go in and actually diffuse out those edges because I don't want this to be a cut crease. I want it to be like a paper cut crease.
He's diffusing the edges of the concealer, so I'm just going to take like, I don't know, this brush that they have right here, I guess. I don't have that brush that he's talking about. This isn't even a Morphe brush. I got this on like Amazon, but it'll do. Alright, I guess that's fine. It was a tiny bit difficult, but I guess I basically got the same result as him. So let's move on to the next step.
To the white shade in the palette, which is Flashback, based on the most iconic internet meme of all time. I really wanted to make a super pigmented white eyeshadow because I feel like these are really hard to find.
Alright, so he's taking this white shadow here called Flashback, and he's applying that over the top of the concealer. So it doesn't look as white as his, but that's probably because he had a whiter concealer than I do, so I didn't really expect it to turn out as bright of a white as his did. But it did apply really nicely, so.
Once that white is set in, I'm just going to take my original floppy brushes and just go lightly over those edges to even diffuse it a little bit more.
Alright, so he's just going in and kind of making sure everything is all blended.
Now, to fix this whole moment in here, because this is obviously not the tea, I'm going to add some blue. I'm first going to grab my M124 brush. This is just a tiny little packing brush, and dip into the shade Acapella, which is our metallic blue shade. And I'm going to give it a little bit of a spritz using the Morphe Prime Set. And I'm going to pack this shade right on here. Then
Okay, so he's taking a packing brush and he's going to be taking some of the shade Acapella right here, which is this shimmer blue shade, as he said. And he's going to be applying that right where the purple shade transitions to the white. He also sprayed it with some setting spray, but sadly I'm literally out of setting spray. Like, I just ran out of it and I don't have time to go get more at the moment, so that kind of sucks. Like, I literally can't get any out of here at all. Let's, I guess, see how this shade applies without any setting spray. I don't have the Morphe packing brush that he has, so I'm just gonna take another packing brush that I have that I think I also got off of Amazon. So that even applies beautifully without a setting spray. It definitely, I'm sure, would show up even more pigmented with the setting spray, and I'm kind of really annoyed that I have none left at the moment.
at 456, I'm going to grab the shade Cola, which is our dark blue matte shade.
Okay, so he's blending everything together with that blue shade. So he's going in with that dark blue shade right here, the shade Cola, and he's applying that right with the purple and the blue to make sure that it's all blended. Okay, and he also went in and just made sure all of this was nice and blended as well.
And on that same brush, I'm next going to grab the shade Hello and pop that right in the middle of that dark blue and the white.
So he's taking the shade Hello, which is this light blue right here. Alright, so I just went in with my finger and picked up that shadow a bit to apply it, just so it would apply a little bit more vibrant because of the fact I didn't have the setting spray. I used the brush to like blend the two shades together, and then I went in and added a little bit more to my finger and popped some more on, and that definitely helped it to show up a lot better. I really like this shade. It's really pretty.
To add some more dimension to the lid, I'm going to use the Peaches and Cream glitter base and a few different glitters that I have. This one is from In Your Dreams, this one is from Peaches, and this one is from the craft store, and I'm just going to pack that right over top of the white.
Okay, so he's using some glitter to put over the white. I don't have what he's using. I guess I do have a glitter glue, and I also have a glitter palette, but that would be way too much. So I'm trying to figure out what I could use. So I think I'm just gonna use a tiny bit of this glitter right here, this pressed glitter from the Beauty Glaze pressed glitter palette. Hopefully this doesn't ruin the look. Just have to be careful to not pick up too much of the glitter. Alright, I'm also going to take a tiny bit of this silver right here, just because this other shade right here gives off a lot of like green toned glitter.
Then to finish off the upper lash, then we're just going to grab a liquid black liner and just go right over that to hide the lashes that we're going to put on.
Oh, I'm using my Morphe M217 liner brush to do this, by the way. Forgot to say that.
The lower lash line for this look is actually going to be pretty easy, just slapping on some colors. So I'm first going to grab my M456 that has a little bit of the excess purple shade on it and just dip one more time into single. And I'm going to use this to blend together this outer corner.
For the outer corner of his eye, he's going to use the shade single, which is that lighter purple shade, and I don't have that brush that he's talking about, so I'm just going to go back in with my M562.
My M124 brush, dipping into the shade Brother, the bright blue shade. I love this color. It is obviously named after Sister Anne. We're just going to pop this right on that lower lash line. It's purple.
So he's taking some of the shade Brother, which is this shade right here, and like he said, he's putting that right next to the purple.
For buffing out the lower lash line, I'm going to dip into the bright green shade, which is called Socialite, in honor of all of you guys and my crazy growth throughout this past year. And I'm going to pop this right next to that blue, blending it in, and also creating a faux inner corner as well.
So he's taking some of this shade right here and putting that in the inner corner. I'm going to use my Morphe M213 smudger brush to do this. That's a really vibrant green color. I really like it.
A little bit more of that white concealer, and I'm going to use this to create a new lower lash line. Using a tiny little liner brush, I'm just going to dip into the...
Really hope I don't screw this up. That's about as good as I think I can get it, so let's see what's next.
Using a tiny little liner brush, I'm just going to dip into the dark green shade, which is called Daddy, in honor of my best friend Laura's husband, Victor. You guys have met him in a ton of videos now. Just going to line right up against the white over top of the green area, just for a little bit more dimension.
Okay, he's putting that against the white shade. He's using the shade Daddy right here. He's applying that right underneath the white that we just put on there, the concealer.
That same brush, gonna dip into Cola and do the same thing in blue, and then same thing.
Alright, he's using this shade Cola, doing the same thing. And he's also using the same purple shade from before, Escape.
A bit more of that Peaches glitter glue. I'm just going to pop some right on top of that white as well, just so everything is like flowing nicely together.
Alright, it doesn't look exactly like his, but it's close enough. So now it just looks like he's applying some mascara, and I think he's going to pop on some falsies. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm gonna use some Cocoa Lashes today in the style Amore. Okay, so I just added some Becca Cosmetics highlighter in the shade Moonstone, and I also put on some Bite Beauty lipstick, and I added some Tarte H2O lip gloss over the top of that. And yeah, this is the finished look, guys. What do you think? I think I did better than I expected, at least. I mean, it doesn't look exactly like James Charles' look, but it's, you know what, pretty close, if I'm being honest. But anyways, my final thoughts on this palette. So overall, I really like the palette. Like, that's just my honest opinion. I really love it. I'm really happy that I ordered it, and I'm really happy that I was able to do a review for you guys. I'm definitely going to be reaching for it more in future looks for sure. But yeah, let's see. So I usually like to name off the pros and cons. So let's start with pros. So the pros would be you get a ton of product for the price. The palette was huge. Like, when you get it in person, you'll realize just how big it is. Like, on camera, it probably doesn't look as big as it does when you receive it. It's like, wow. Okay, so that's my first pro. Another pro would be pigmentation is amazing. The color payoff is awesome. Like, all the colors show up really vibrant. The shimmer shades are really good. I really can't wait to try out more of them because when I swatch them, they look amazing. Some of them didn't seem as good or as pigmented as others, but the majority of them were amazing. The red shade called You're Kidding was awesome. Like, it's the most true red shade I think I've ever seen in a palette. It literally goes on just red. Like, it's not a pink tone or an orangey tone, it's just red. I didn't even have to take a lot on my brush in order for it to show up red, and when I blended it out, it was still red. A lot of times when you have a red eyeshadow, it doesn't blend out to be red. Like, when you put it on, it's red, but once you start blending it out, it starts to fade to more like a magenta kind of color. So this shadow does not do that at all, and that is probably one of the biggest pros for me because I love red eyeshadow. Another pro would be that I love how he thought to add bigger pan sizes for the shades that he thinks people would use more every day. I thought that was really cool that he did that. People aren't going to create looks like this like every day of their lives. I mean, maybe some people. Sometimes I go to work with crazy looks like this, so yeah, but not every single day, you know. So I really like that he included a variety of different shades that everyone can use, not only to create more unique looks like this, but also to create just more simple everyday looks. And now let's move to some cons. So I don't have too many cons, just a couple. So one being how the swatches were. Obviously swatches are not that important. Like, it can give you a good idea of how an eyeshadow is going to apply, but it's not completely accurate until you actually go and apply it on your eye. The shimmers were amazing. The matte shades were the problem when I was swatching them. The majority of the matte shades, if not all of them, they were very powdery, very chalky, but they would also kind of create like this chunky fallout almost when I would go to swatch them. But once you went to go kind of blend it in a little bit more, it all blended out. They were definitely more on the chalky side, which, like I said before, it really isn't that big of a deal. As long as they're applying well on the eyes, then that's really what matters. But a swatch can definitely tell you a bit about how a shadow is going to apply, which is what I'm going to get into next. So my next kind of con is the fact that when I went to go apply those purple shades in the beginning, they were definitely going on a little bit patchy when I was trying to blend them out. Now, that could be just because what James did, he went in with no transition shade, he just went straight in with that purple. So that could maybe be a reason why, I'm not too sure. But after I went in with all the other shades, it blended out perfectly and everything was fine. It was just that initial purple shade that I went in with. It just wasn't blending out very well. But the more I picked up on my brush, the better it was blending out. So maybe you just need a decent amount of product on your brush and you need to keep like applying more, applying more, blending in order for that patchiness to kind of go away. But anyways, I'm kind of considering that a con just because of the fact it was a little patchy. But overall, I think the shadows blended out really well. Those are really the only complaints or cons that I have. Like, I really don't have any more complaints. I really like this palette, and that's just my honest opinion. Like, I'm not just saying that just because I like James and I watch him. I'm just saying that because that's the truth. I really do love this palette. I think the shades are amazing. The color variety is great. For those of you that have that palette, totally let me know in the comments what you think and what your opinions are on it. And yeah, so that's the end of this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed. I hope this was informative to you guys. I know some people were telling me that they thought a lot of the reviews on the palette were kind of biased, so I hope that this kind of helped you to see what the good parts of this palette are and also what the bad parts are. Anyways, guys, don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and also hit that notification bell if you want to be notified of any of my upcoming videos, also which might include a James Charles palette. So if you want to see that, then hit the subscribe button and the notification bell, because I'm definitely going to be creating more looks with this palette. And I'll see you in the next one, guys. Bye!